welcome to another installment of the FutureDDS Dental School Experience Series, where we help you decide which dental school is right for you. Every school is unique and will offer a different experience, and who better to explain that dental school experience than someone who goes to that school. Our goal is to give you a first-hand perspective at every dental school across America and ultimately help you decide on the right dental school for you. So today, we'll be showcasing Caleb Abfall, who is a first-year dental student at Marquette University School of Dentistry. Well, we just want to say welcome and thank you for joining us, Caleb. If you could kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from. Again, your first year at Marquette, but where'd you go to undergrad? Just a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so my name's Caleb. This is my first year at Marquette. I moved around a little bit growing up, but I graduated high school in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And then I did 1 year of my undergrad at Iowa State and then transferred to UW-Milwaukee, which is obviously in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So the location move from Marquette to UW-Milwaukee wasn't that far because Marquette's like 10 minutes down the road.
Okay.
So, yeah, pretty easy transition location-wise.
Cool. Did you kind of know that you wanted to go into dentistry, or did dentistry kind of find you in school?
Well, I definitely went back and forth starting in high school. Actually, you know how a lot of high schools do those like career pathfinder quizzes or those kinds of things. So we did one of those. Dentistry popped up for me, and I'd never thought about it before that. But for whatever reason, it kind of stuck in my head. And when I went to college at Iowa State for my first year, I majored in marketing. And I think it was kind of just like a bailout because I was running cross country and track too, and I wanted to focus a lot of attention on that.
Gotcha.
But then, after my freshman year, the coach left at Iowa State, so I decided to make a move too. And I just thought about a lot of things with running and with school, and decided that I wasn't going for dentistry kind of because I was just afraid of, what would happen if it didn't turn out like I wanted to. But I decided to go for it, and obviously I'm glad I did, and I'm here now, so I'm happy with my decision, and yeah.
Man, that's awesome. I'm glad it worked out.
Me too.
Could you tell us a little bit about like Marquette? Obviously, it's located, you said, as you said, and you said Milwaukee?
Yeah, Milwaukee. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's in Milwaukee. How is that city, and how big is the class size? Yeah, just like a little background information on Marquette.
Sure. Yeah. So Milwaukee is in the southeastern part of Wisconsin. It's like an hour and a half north of Chicago, right? It's right on Lake Michigan. So in the summer, there's a lot of fun stuff to do. There's a really big beach that's really popular in the summer, and we have a lot of music festivals and stuff like that. So summertime is a lot of fun. Winter, it gets real cold, obviously, so just doing stuff inside. But there's plenty of bars and stuff to do. So Milwaukee itself is a really fun town. For the school itself, we start off with 100 kids, exactly 100 every year in each class, and exactly 50 of those people are from out of state, and then 50 of those are in state.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think our class, we have 54 girls and 45 guys. We had a student in our class decide that she was going to take some time off and try again next year. Yeah. So. But yeah, I mean, the class is really friendly and open, and everybody helps each other out. So it's a really cool culture. And I know I don't know if a lot of schools, but I've heard of a few schools that are pretty cutthroat.
Right.
So yeah, with a lot, if they're heavy in specialties and stuff like that. But Marquette is definitely more of a general dentist focus. So there's not too many people, really gunning, and everybody's pretty open and honest about how they're studying and what they're doing to study and helping each other out to get good grades and everything like that.
Got you. So I guess what kind of were factors that went into you when you were deciding what school to go to? Was it basically solely location? Because I know you stayed in Milwaukee. Was that your main factor?
Yeah, it was definitely a primary factor for my decision. I'd lived in Milwaukee for 4 years, and then I took a gap year in between my undergrad and dental school. So it was 5 years before I started dental school living in Milwaukee. And I really like the city, and my parents still live in Green Bay. So there's really no reason for me to leave. But I mean, other than that, I went on a couple other interviews, and the way that Marquette set up their program was just really like enticing for me.
Okay.
They have a really heavy course load in the first year and a half-ish. And then after that, it's almost all clinically based. And I really like that aspect of it. So those two reasons were probably the biggest reasons why I decided on Marquette.
Got you. So you say you took a gap year. You feel like that gap
Yeah.
year was really beneficial for you, kind of along your journey?
Yeah, going into it, I didn't really know what to expect out of it. I was honestly a little scared that I would lose motivation to apply again, because I did apply, but I applied too late in the cycle
Mhm.
due to me not keeping track of all my credentials being turned in.
Same.
So that was a really unfortunate mistake. So I hope everybody does not make that mistake, or anybody else doesn't make that mistake, because that sucked a lot. But yeah, during my gap year, I worked in a microbiology lab for the undergraduate school that I went to, and it was a really cool job, and I learned a lot. Obviously, it wasn't something I wanted to do long term, but it was a really good job. It gave me a lot of free time, and they allowed me to go on my interviews, and and it was cool to step away from school for a little bit, and just see what the work life was like, and just have more free time, where you're not studying all the time, and you can kind of take a step back and hang out with my friends a lot more than I did in undergrad. So it was cool.
Got you. So you say you applied twice, but how was the interview specifically at Marquette? Like, how was the interview day, if you remember, just showing up, kind of how the outline or the layout of the interview went?
Yeah, sure. The layout overall is really relaxed. They do 2 interview like sections a day, I guess you could say, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And I was in the afternoon section, so I came in and they gave us a lunch, and then while we were eating lunch, they gave us like kind of like an intro to the school, what to expect out of the interview, and kind of what their mission statement was, what they represented, what they wanted out of the people that they were going to send offer letters to. And then after that, there was 4, I think there was 4 like segments to the interview, I want to say. Each one was about 45 minutes. One of them was the actual interview segment, where you interviewed with 4 different people for 10 minutes each. And I interviewed with 3 different faculty members and then a recent graduate of the university. So, and then they were all different aspects of my application were definitely highlighted, and it was kind of easy to tell that that's what they were doing.
Gotcha.
And then, but they were all really laid back and friendly conversations and very casual, nothing super intimidating. And then the next segment was I think it was a financial, kind of like an intro to finances and what to expect out of taking loans out, different scholarship opportunities. There was a few that Marquette offered, and then as well as like military and, like the health corps and stuff like that were brought to our attention. We got a tour of the school. They made a addition recently in the last 10 years, I want to say. So we got to walk through a couple of the clinics and see, get like a pretty extensive tour of the whole school and like the sim lab and all that stuff. And then I'm blanking on what the 4th section was, but I'm sure it'll come to me. But yeah, if I think of it, I'll bring it up. But yeah.
Okay, so once you actually got into Marquette, how was that transition going into your first year of classes, like actually starting school? How was that those initial few months, and how have you kind of settled into school since then?
Yeah, coming off of a gap year, there was definitely, I don't know if learning curve is the right way to put it, but there was definitely a steep transitional period where I had to relearn to be in class, and not only be in class like it was in undergrad, because in undergrad, you have 3, maybe 4 classes a day max. Whereas in dental school, it's kind of like a high school setup where you're in, like our schedule is 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. Well, most days 8 to 4:30. And then there's a mixture of lab time and lectures in there. So when I was transitioning back, I think just getting back into the schoolwork was the biggest part of it. And creating time management and discipline and figuring out how to balance, school with still being able to see my friends, going out with my classmates, getting to know people from other classes.
Right.
So the first month was definitely a little rough, kind of like admitting to myself that I wasn't just clocking in and clocking out of a job anymore, and that I had to come home after a full day of school and study. But after that, after the initial month or two, I'm sure you can relate to that. You kind of just get into the flow of things, and you get into a routine, and it gets easier, and you just get into the flow, and everything works out.
Gotcha. Yeah. Definitely can relate to getting into that flow, because like I said, I took a gap year as well. So getting back into the grind can definitely be a little struggle at first.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So I guess for anyone, really, what does a typical day like for a first year look like? So you said you go to class from 8 to 4. Do you have like block style schedule first semester, second semester? Does the schedule kind of switch up? Kind of how walk me through like a day.
Yeah. So a typical day, we take, like I said, it's a pretty heavy course load for D1 year. So I think in the spring, or in the fall and in the spring, we take about 27 credits, I want to say. So it's 8 to 9 classes, and you'll have 3 or 4 or 5 of those in any given day. And so it's a lot of lecture, but then we also have like a class that we call PresRes, which is preservation and restoration of tooth structure. So we're learning simple stuff on the drill, like class 1s and class 2s and class 5s. And then we have like a dental anatomy class where we're waxing up teeth, which is fun, get the hand skills going and develop all that kind of stuff. So yeah, typical day is a mix between, hanging out in the lab and getting some lab work done, and then going into classes and listening to lecture, taking notes. Then I usually get home around 4:30 or 5, depending on the day and what rotations look like. And then I'm I try to make time to either go for a run or do some like play basketball with classmates or something. If the homework load isn't too heavy and I don't have an exam the next day or something like that. But yeah, then I definitely set out probably 2 to 4 or 5 hours a night to just make sure everything's in line and study. And obviously the 5-hour, 6-hour nights are, day before exam when I cram. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, that's probably a typical day. I try to get in bed around 10 or 11. I try not to get in bed past midnight because then I'm just dragging the next day. So.
Okay, definitely. I definitely feel you on that one. So for anyone applying to Marquette or looking to apply, what would you suggest that they kind of focus on now to better prepare themselves to get in successfully, and then once they get in, to be successful once they are there?
Yeah, sure. I think for Marquette specifically, and I think a lot of dental schools are like this, especially like in the last couple of decades, it's moved more away from GPA and DAT score, and obviously those have to be competitive. But Marquette really looks for people that are well-rounded and personable, and they look for people that they think are going to be successful dentists, but also are going to be successful people in their community, and people that are going to make a difference, to the people around them and have an impact on the community. So I think for Marquette especially, they definitely emphasize people that are just, really generous and genuine people. As for the academic side of things, if you're super interested in Marquette, or honestly, if you have a number 1 school, no matter if it's like Marquette, Tufts, Harvard, whatever it is, I would see if you could find the class schedule for the D1 year. And if you still have semesters to go where you're signing up for classes, see if the university that you're at for undergrad offers any of those classes. Because even if they're not the same thing, like just getting some background knowledge, there's going to be some overlap. There has to be, so having some background knowledge like that, and then going into D1 year knowing that like you took histology, you took micro, you took whatever it is, pathophys, you kind of have those under your belt, at least a little bit in a general sense. And I think that'll make things a lot easier, even if it's just for like the first 2 months. So I think that'd make a big difference.
That's great advice. Definitely. So you mentioned, working out and going to play basketball and stuff like that. How have you, how are you learning to manage the work-life balance? And does the school have any like systems in place for that? Like, do you guys kind of take it on your own right to do it? Or does the school kind of have like certain days or certain events that kind of help with work-life balance?
Yeah, it's definitely both. I mean, after the first few weeks of school or even the first few days, you're meeting people, you're getting to know everybody, and you kind of just organize stuff amongst yourselves. But also, we have a lot of different student organizations at the university and at the School of Dentistry itself. So, I mean, there's student organizations that have put on a few bar crawls where we have like a bus and we go around to a few different bars in Milwaukee. And so that's an awesome way that we get to, just relax and forget about the classwork and meet people in other classes that you don't have school with every day. And then, I mean, we have events like during school pretty frequently too. I know next week even we have like a family feud kind of thing where I think that's like on a Friday or Saturday when we get back from spring break, and we've had like pasta cook-offs during lunch hour, like chili, that kind of stuff. So they definitely make it like really approachable and easy to reach out and join different organizations and be involved in different things like that. So you're not just stuck going from school to the books. There's a lot of different ways to branch out and find ways to relieve some stress.
Got you. So you mentioned you guys are kind of front heavy on the didactic work and back heavy on the clinical work. How is the clinical experience? How has it been so far with like the coursework? But how does it progress over the years? If you don't know exactly, what have you heard from other like upperclassmen?
Yeah, they make it pretty like open, I guess you could say, about exactly what your time is going to be like each of your 4 years at Marquette. So yeah, the first year is all about just getting prepared for boards and passing boards. We do have, and another thing that I did like about Marquette during the interview that they made apparent to us was that we do have time set aside a few afternoons of the week in both fall and spring semester, where we call just like rotations, which is a part of our intro to clinical practice course. And that can be anything from assisting in the clinic where like you're hands-on helping the D3 and D4 students that are full-time in the clinic. You're helping them with anything from crown prep to restorations to prosthetics, all of that stuff, whatever they think they might need an assistant for to make things go quicker. You're in there, helping them out with that stuff. So being exposed to the clinic, I mean, I think I was in the clinic like maybe the second week of school, like second or third week of school. So that was really cool. We also have shadowing during D1 and D2 year where we in the specialty clinics and in just like we don't have a ped residency, but we do have like a ped clinic. So you get this, I was just in there last week watching sealant placement and helping out with that. So even in D1 year, they're really good about mixing it in and making sure that it's not just about class. And then D2 year, the first semester is still pretty didactic. And then in the spring, I know they're in class right now, I think 3 days a week, and then clinic 2 days a week. And then the transition from the summer in between D2 and D3 year is all about transitioning from the classroom to the clinic. So then by the fall of your D3 year until you graduate, you're in the clinic Monday through Friday, and then you have one patient in the afternoon and one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Okay. So you're seeing up to about 10 patients a week for your D3 and D4 year.
Got you. That's cool. So I guess what would some unique things, we're going to kind of wrap it up now, but what are some unique things that you would never want to change about Marquette or your dental experience so far?
Sure. I think the biggest thing is that I, at least, I can't really compare it to other dental schools because I haven't, been through it anywhere else but Marquette. But the culture of the students and the way that the older students are so willing to help the D1s and even the D2s that are going through it. I mean, it's been incredible. I can't tell you how many times I've met somebody that is a D2, 3, or 4. And I swear every person at the end of a conversation when you meet them is like, hey, man, if you need help with anything, just let me know. I could send you my old notes. I could send you my old study guides. Whatever you need, just let me know. Yeah. So I think that's really cool. And I don't know if that's necessarily unique to Marquette, but it's definitely a huge benefit because just having, knowing that you have that resource of 300 other kids that you can go to if you need help with anything is awesome. Yeah, it's pretty priceless.
Man, that's perfect. Well, thank you again for your time. Is there any like last words or last gems that you want to give to, any advice that you want to give anyone applying right now to Marquette or just in general to applying to school?
Yeah. I mean, well, don't make the mistake I made by forgetting or checking on your credentials. So definitely check I don't know what the acronym, like ADSAS, is that what it is?
Yeah.
The application portal. Check that like 100 times a day
Mhm.
while you're applying. Apply early. And yeah, just, I would say scope out the schools that you think are interesting to you, see how much info you can find on them. And yeah, see if you can set yourself up before you even get there to be successful so you can be a resource to your classmates. And, just the cliche stuff, work hard, keep your head down, and, you'll get through it. People have done it before and people do it after you. So yeah, it's an awesome profession and I'm really happy I made the choice to go into it.
Man, well, Caleb, we just want to say thank you again for your time. If you wouldn't mind, could you, give your social media handle or a way that everybody can get in contact with you so they can ask you any questions that they may have?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind people emailing me at all. You can email my school email, which is my first name Caleb and then dot my last name Abfall at marquette.edu. And then Instagram is pretty much the only social media that I frequently check. And my handle is Caleb _ Bellyautumn. So it's BELLYAUTUMN.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
awesome, man. We definitely want to say
Yeah.
again, on behalf of like FutureDDS and all of our viewers out there, thank you for taking some time out from your busy schedule in school to give us insight about Marquette, man, and your experience so far. It's been amazing. You gave some great gems today to anyone looking to apply to Marquette, man.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for reaching out. I really enjoyed it. If you need anything, just let me know.
Yep, no problem, man. Best of luck to you heading forward. And for all the viewers, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you know whenever we post up new content. And stay tuned to more schools that we're going to be showcasing in this series. But that's going to be it. Thank you. See you guys next time.